True with hearts so brave, going out to earn their daily bread upon the restless wave. And it's 70 boys, and then we're us from Grimsby town. From Yarmouth down to Scarborough, many hundreds more were drowned. Our herring craft, our trawlers, our fishing smacks as well. They long to fight the bitter night and battle with the swell. Methinks I see them yet again as leave the shores behind, and cast their nets into the waves those herring shores do find. Methinks I see them yet again and roll on boards all right. The sails blows reef and the decks cleared up and the sidelines burning bright. And it's 70 boys, and then we're lost from Grimsby town. From Yarmouth down to Scarborough, many hundreds more were drowned. Our herring craft, our trawlers, our fishing smacks as well. They long to fight the bitter night and battle with the swell. October's night, 'twas such a sight 'twas never seen before. And bars and yards and broken spars came floating to the shore. There was many a heart of sorrow, there was many a heart so brave. There was many a hearty fisher lad who found their watery grave. And it's 70 boys, and then we're lost from Grimsby town. From Yarmouth down to Scarborough, many hundreds more were drowned. Our herring craft, our trawlers, our fishing smacks as well. They long to fight the bitter night and battle with the swell. And it's 70 boys, and then we're lost from Grimsby town. From Yarmouth down to Scarborough, many hundreds more were drowned. Our herring craft, our trawlers, our fishing smacks as well. They long to fight the bitter night and battle with the swell. Come in, everybody. We're going to do one more song. Get me nice and proper warm. Come cheer up, me lads, it's to glory we steer, to add something more to this wonderful year. It's to honor we call you as freemen, not slaves, for who are so free as the sons of the waves? Heart of oak are our ships, heart of oak are our men, we'll always be ready, steady, boys, steady. We'll fight and we'll conquer again and again. Our worthy forefathers, let's give them a cheer. To crime this unknown and courageously steer. Through oceans and deserts for freedom they came, and dying bequeath us our freedom and fame. Heart of oak are our ships, heart of oak are our men. We'll always be ready, steady, boys, steady. We'll fight and we'll conquer again and again. Now Now England shall triumph, her ships will rule the seas, her standard be justice, her watchword be peace. So cheer up, me lads, with one voice let us sing, our soldiers, our sailors, our statesmen, our king. Hard of oak are our ships, hard of oak are our men, we'll always be ready, steady, boys, steady. We'll fight and we'll conquer again, and again, and again. And maybe once more if time does allow.
Fuck you, Izzy. That's not the right finger. Wait.
You can't milk Corey and then leave.
Stop it! You can't do this to me! I think that this stream is always going to be about 3 angles away from talking about shebangan. Are you trying to say that there's something optically troublesome about this statement that I like to go on the internet and make anime women cry? I do not orchestrate their downfall. I will simply outlast all of them. What? So let's talk about a shed. Alright, it works when it's upside down. Alright. Hello and welcome everybody. It is I, the man, the myth, the legend, the dwarf himself who forgot his hand rigging. It's me, Horatius. Welcome into a very lovely, very important, our monthly psychology lecture stream. I'm always so overjoyed to see how many folks show up so promptly for this one. You guys make a really big effort, evidently, to be here on time for the lectures, and that always means a lot to me. But welcome in Kisa, Uriasin, Michan, Weirdness, Atsu, Andy, Chortaban, Tonka Blanks, Tootsie, Raytheon, Titan Gamer, Dubs, Apop. I think I got Tootsie already. Anthony Wow, Oxen. Welcome. I hope I got everybody there. Well, welcome into the show. It's good to see everybody here on a nice Sunday morning. I've been busting my ass for this lecture. I'm going to tell you guys right now. Working very hard on this one. I put in like a good 3.5 hours this morning to finish it up. Thought there was personality disorders. It is. Yeah, what do you... What? Yeah. Is that not what the title of the stream says? Did you not read, or are you fucking with me? Been really looking forward to this one. I'm glad. Nades, are you high? A staunch possibility. Hey, Ryson, thank you for the 7 months. I deeply appreciate it. Or the 7 consecutive. Ugh. An announcement in the server says eating disorders. Whatever. That lad weekend. What? Yeah. Oh no. Myra! Myra, you boob! I'll talk to Myra. She made the thumbnail and I didn't catch it.
Rock and stone!
Anthony, wow, thanks for the sub, man. I appreciate it. No, it's personality disorders. figured I should subscribe. I'm not on Twitch much, but I am. You're streaming. I enjoy them. Thank you. I appreciate that, man. Poor Myra. Woman works herself to the fucking bone. We all make mistakes in the heat of passion, Jimbo. Bond with me, Jimmy. Hey, GEP3, welcome in, welcome in. Alright, Nate, I should never think low of you. No, it's okay to think lowly of him sometimes. Alright. I hate the cold, that is all. Fair enough. What's up, Chili? Hope today's going well. Today's going awesome. Alright, let me see. Can we... Perfect. So real quick before the lecture, I wanted to showcase some of the fan art that people have made over the time. We have Dubs made Izzy, Hera, and I playing Jenga, which is hilarious. Emmerich with me allegedly regretting eating 8 corn dogs, which is hilarious. I don't regret eating 8 corn dogs ever. Broth with the what if Horatius was Akuma, which I fucking love this to death. Titan with what is now my Twitter profile picture. I love this one. Barista of the Mountaintop, #1 dad. Man couldn't not draw me hot. Satsui no Hora. Of course, we have the corn dog Hora. Saha. Has anyone seen my 1988 Chevrolet Cavalier? It's just Hera with 1988 Chevrolet Cavalier shaped bulge in her throat. So fucking goofy. I fucking love it. Although, fun fact, I never owned or drove a 88 Chevrolet Cavalier, but I did drive a 1988 Ford Taurus. Sky blue, and I beat the shit out of that car. Otis Tibbins, and I actually had a full name for that car. Otis Tibbins. Man was a fucking legend. He took a drunk driver to the side to protect my dad's car. Of course, Hera interpreting this as cattail Hora, and so Saha made this wonderful abomination. So fucking funny. For Psychology 101. We have this incredible pin right here. This was from Crackshot the Brain Damage. I think this is Chortabon, right? Is that you, Chorty? Hi, Cranium. The field of Hora cattails is so majestic. The idea of me being, like, right next to fucking Iron Mouse is crazy town. We have a collection from Dubs. Me pouring coffee on myself. Me with the sicko meme. Yes. Ha ha ha. Yes! This, I fucking adore this one. Hands off the goods. and the miladies with me. That out of the way. What can I do for you, traveler? Very Hugo Boss gray jacket. I actually looked into it. This is a the correct side of Germany. Officer outfit. Yeah, buy, rumors, sell, challenge. Django one. This is Kumbaya Stops. I adore this one. The Dwarf. Jazz music stops shit. And then we have the Sir a second whatever has hit the whatever. Hi Otis. I saw your message this morning. I just haven't had the time to get to it. Another Sikahora is my favorite. It's a good one. I also love this one from Dubs. I love that meme. It's a Seinfeld meme. It's George Costanza holding a bat. And then Roderick did this, which I might actually turn into an emote with their permission. I kind of... This is super fucking cute. This might be the cutest I've ever been drawn. Yeah. Sir, a second message was muted by Rumble. That is super cute, yeah. And then Retro Momsy drew this. Look at this. It's all three of us having a drink. This one, I put a big, stupid smile on my face. That's so wholesome. Yeah. Together, they form one whole check mark. Humanoid Typhoon, welcome in. But yeah. I wanted to showcase some of the fan art that has been made over time. Got a creative community? Yeah, I appreciate all of you. Very appreciative of everyone. Morning, good morning. I feel like I had a couple things I wanted to talk about before we got into the lecture, but I'm fucking spacing on what they are. Oh, so I booth babed for Atasha Coffee yesterday at Anime Inked. Anime Magic Inked. It's like a Chicago-based con that's like half anime convention, half tattoo convention, which I had never heard of. And it was really, really cool. I got to talk to a whole bunch of folks. Had a couple people follow the channel while I was there. Buy coffee, buy shaker, Fortnite stream. Yes, I played Fortnite with Hera yesterday because I promised her that if Deep Rock Galactic ever came to Fortnite, and I thought it was never gonna happen, I'd buy the Deep Rock skin and play Fortnite with her. So I reinstalled Fortnite. I bought the Scout skin and played Fortnite with her before I went on to do that. Unexpected combo, but makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Place to get a white beard back tattoo? Maybe. Yeah, so exclamation point coffee. Go buy the coffee. So, dude, check this out. I was told to tell you guys about this. I'm looking this up. No way DRG's in Fortnite. Dog, I'm telling you. Bought a shaker, still need the coffee. The coffee sold out. You can buy it and you'll get it. It did, like, but Ares, the guy who runs Atasha, just, like, ran out. Like, he made a huge batch of it and we sold out the coffee. There was, like, he brought some to the con and they sold out at the con. And there's just, like, you guys bought all the coffee. Buy more coffee. I'm gonna punish this fucking dude for not making enough of my coffee. Go buy the coffee, code Dwarf at checkout. If you've already used code Dwarf, use code Final Girl. So we can get our girl Harakita her own fucking flavor. Wait, what? And if you cold brew your shit, what if I use both codes? Why? Is this why my motherfucking order got delayed? Probably. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, Nates. I don't believe so. But also, why didn't I get mod prior? Why didn't I get mod prior for my order? What? I don't know what get mod is for. I'm prepared for the nut. True. Oh wait, they've got a perfect name for Harris flavor. Dog water. Mod prio. Oh, mod priority. Yeah. Probably fuck you, that's why. I'm very important. You are. You're very important to me. What if I use both codes? You can't use both codes in the same order, is the problem, Otis. But also make sure you use that exclamation point waifu to go buy my shaker cup. We have 8 out of the 20 orders we need for them to actually make a shipment worth. So if everyone can go and buy a shaker cup, and my shaker cup code is 20% off. So, like, that's huge. Motherfucker's asking the dwarf to share his riches and get surprised by the abundance. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Real shit. But yeah, exclamation point waifu, exclamation point coffee, go buy the coffee, go buy the cup. Make the coffee cold brew. You can put it in the shaker cup so you can drink my coffee out of my cup. And we're working on getting ceramic coffee mugs at VT Horizons so you guys can go to exclamation point merch and buy hot coffee mugs for your Horatius coffee. We're doing the whole fucking thing. We're hitting all the bases. Who knew it would take me 4 years to get merch? and brand deals and shit. I just had to get out of my own damn way. Shocker. Just broke her shaker cup. What great timing. Hell yeah, Nintendo support. Go buy my cup. It's awesome. It doesn't have a scantily clad waifu on it. I guess I could try. It'll be my first for me. Yeah. It has a dude bathing in a waterfall. Also, I had to drink coffee. I got myself off caffeine, and nowadays, even the tiniest amount spikes my anxiety like crazy. Valid. Buy it for a friend. Coffee and a cup? Yeah. You buy it by the case? Unfortunately, well, I don't know, Neon. Maybe you like if you order or like reach out and be like, "Hey, how much of this shit can I buy? How much of this can I buy?" Maybe get like a special thing going on. I don't know. That'd be news to me. Wish you the best of luck on that endeavor. Mark, this is good news. We can be a cup. Cup? You'll live for X years until you're dropped and you shatter on the tile. What's your discount code again? Discount code Dwarf at checkout on everything ever. It's code Dwarf. Always will be code Dwarf. And if you've used code Dwarf, use code Final Girl for the coffee. If you already used code Dwarf, use code Final Girl. Mark, this is new. This is good news. We can be marketable. Marketable? This is insane. Yes. This is insane. Insane value. Insane prices. Actually, I don't even know what Aries would fucking do if, like, I just sent someone over and was like, go buy $100 worth of coffee. Because, like, I think all of the sales that I've made for them have been, like, single purchase, like, single, like, bags of coffee. But, like, if someone just walked over and was like, yeah, I'll use code Dwarf at checkout for a $100 purchase, I think Aries would shit himself. You can last one fiscal quarter. Not hard. It'd be like 5 bags. True. That's a lot of coffee. 5 bags of coffee is a lot of coffee. be the biggest shitter in the world and just buy my own fucking products and give my merch as Christmas presents to all my friends and family. 5 pounds of coffee is our standby amount. That's crazy. I mean, I do tech opping for where caffeine is our lifeblood. Well, Neon Grip, if you actually want to do that, that would be really cool. I'll be 100% honest. That would be really, really, really cool. What's the flavor profile? It's black walnut. So it's got this like earthy, it's very mellow. It's a very smooth to drink coffee. I'm a big fan of it. Good sir. Hello, welcome in, Herzl Games. My folks would love that, yeah. And it doesn't have a girl with her titties out on it. Mellow and smooth, just like the man himself. It's really good, especially black, yeah. Mellow and smooth. Sorry. Oh, my folks would love that. Perfect for espresso martinis. What is love? That's a good question. All right, y'all done meandering? You guys ready to do some learning? I would rate the bitterness low. Like, quite low. Be perfect for a cold brew? I completely agree. What? On Twitch? Yes. Stuff a little bit smaller, so I'm not blocking. Uh-oh. Oh, that was sick. Thanks.
Hello.
Hi, old man Windbreaker. Welcome in. All right. Ugh. Pardon. For a bit longer than that. I'm a dwarf, Otis. Come on, dog. Like, short legs is the thing. It's like the defining anatomical trait. All right. Doesn't actually have legs, just knees and feet. They're there. Incredible. What if just like one day I just revealed I just like stood up? Like I did the thing where I'm like on my knees and my knees are in my shoes and it looks like I'm really short. I just stand up. I'm just like a regular guy. Like Slinkies. Hey you. Your coffee kind of banging. No. And Black Dragon. That's how they do it in Lord of the Rings. So in some productions, yes. On your knees? Yeah, Tootsie, you fucking wish. Let's see if one of those disorders describes me. Hee hee. Alright. Welcome, everybody, to another Psychology 102 lecture. This is our 16th lecture in the Psychology 102 series, where we're talking about personality disorders. Where the husband would jump off his chair. Oh, yeah. That's generic. Generic. They're awesome. Just as a presumption, this is probably a lot of folks' first lecture. There's always some new folks to these, so let's just go over some of the rules for this lecture. If you want to ask a question that's relevant to the current topic at hand, please use the raise hand channel point redeem. It'll encourage you to write a message, and that way it'll be easier for me to find your questions in the chat. If you do have questions that are not on topic, I recommend that you save them, maybe even write or type them down, and save them for the Q&A segment at the end of the lecture. I will be interacting with chat. You guys know me. I love to read and talk to chat directly. Thank you, Andy. But during the lectures, I'm very focused on delivering the information, and therefore, very, very rarely will I, by comparison, express myself to the chat directly during the lecture. I'll normally be just focused on giving information, talking about this or that. So just, I'm not ignoring you guys, but this is my primary focus, all right? So as always, I like to discuss... Thank you. Also, you may notice that a lot of the redeems are turned off. Very, very few redeems are turned on. Who am I? I'm Horatius the Dwarf, a English VTuber, and by trade, I'm a mental health professional. I have over 7 years of experience in the field of mental health. I'm currently employed as a special education teacher. I have experience with ABA, which is Applied Behavioral Analysis, which I'm not the biggest fan of. I've done addiction counseling, behavior management. I've been a social worker case manager. I've done one-on-one behavioral aids in educational settings. I've done intensive in-home work. I've done crisis management, conflict resolution, and cognitive behavioral therapy. As a rule of thumb, I am quite the resume. Thank you. As a rule of thumb, I am licensed to do my profession where I live, and I'm very open about that being Maryland in the eastern United States. However, I am not licensed to practice in your country or territory. Even if you tell me that you live in Maryland, I'm not your therapist. I am a mental health professional, but I'm not your mental health professional. For you all, I'm a dwarf on the internet with a lot of life experience. As a brief restatement of our goals here, I have 3 major goals with these lectures. The first of which is to raise awareness of mental health in the streaming community. I think that is a realm of knowledge that is woefully undertapped in this marketplace. And as a consequence of that, I'm trying my best to increase the understanding of mental health in the streaming space. I think it's really, really important to what we do here online, and a lot of people just don't have a very strong understanding of it. It's also to educate people on the basics of psychology. That's a real big. There's a reason. If you ever see me like caps lock a word, it's for emphasis, because I'm not really getting into the like nitty gritty, extremely detailed parts of psychology on these lectures. Not yet, at least. There's a reason why I call this lecture Psychology 102. What we're going to talk about today, you might actually experience these kind of talking points and sections of knowledge if you went to your local community college or local university and took a Psychology 102 course. It's very, very like in so like for those who might not have a lot of experience in higher education, they categorize complexities of topic by the 100s, right? So like your basics, your fundamental classes are going to be the 100. So like, you know, your 100, your 101, your 102, your 104, etc. And then like as you get higher into your degree, you're going to take a lot of like 200 classes, like 207, 2010. And then when you get to, you know, 300s and 400s, these are like your master's degree level of in-depthness that you're going to be discussing. Learning the complexity of psychology is torture. I strongly disagree, but I understand why someone who does not have psychology as their passion would feel that way. I feel the same way about engineering. I think I have a relatively fundamental understanding on engineering and how things work, but if I was to sit here and be like, yes, the eccentricities of thermodynamics and the nature of different kinds of motors and the properties therein and why one system is superior to another, and these, like, my fucking head would explode, you know? Oh, thanks, Foss. I appreciate it. Ugh. 400 level classes, flashbacks, real dog, real shit. So again, all of this to say that what we're doing here is we're focusing on the basics of psychology. I understand. Hora, please explain the stress values of titanium under negative 35 Kelvin. I'd rather fucking kneecap myself, actually. So I understand that the majority of my audience has either a minimal to like no formal understanding of psychology, right? I think any adult is going to have some understanding of psychology, but not really in a formal sense. It's going to be all anecdotal or personal biases and personal experiences, right? And that's understandable. That's how life works. You learn shit by experiencing it. You know, my understanding of gravity has less to do with the formal education of physics that I've received. It has more to do with, like, if I pick something up and drop it, I witness it falling. You know what I mean? Like, I know that gravity exists. I could not explain gravity to you. Whereas in psychology, not only do I know, hey, thank you for the 10 consecutive streak, I appreciate it. Whereas in psychology, not only do I understand what depression is because I've experienced it firsthand, I've experienced it secondhand and thirdhand, I can also explain to you what it is and why it happens and how it occurs. All right, wait, you were an engineer? No. I was making the point that while I have a basic understanding of engineering, I am not an engineer and could not teach people about engineering. Bretharion, I'm not even going to attempt to read that. No is the answer. No, Chili Destario. If I had been an engineer at any point in my life, I would not have downgraded to the financial destitution that is being a fucking teacher. I say that with all the love in the world. I appreciate engineers. You fuckers make a shit ton of money by comparison to a teacher. I would not be a teacher if I used to be an engineer unless I got like kicked out of the fucking field. Or I was just like, fuck you, Rich, and wanted to do a different job. The third of my purposes with these lectures, teachers should be paid more. You should tell your congressperson that if you live in Maryland. Or sorry, if you live in America. If you guys think that teachers should be paid more, call your fucking local official and tell them that. Please, fuck's sake. Please, it would help me so much. So the third is to entertain and to share my personal experiences in the field. Remember, I consider these edutainment. Self-docs, these are talking, go fuck yourself. I talk about being from Maryland all the fucking time. I'm in Baltimore. You gonna come to Baltimore and find me? I dare a motherfucker from the internet to come to Baltimore to find my ass. That's just not gonna work out. Like, but as always, I really do stress this disclaimer, right? Take what you hear and read here and improvise it. While much of what I'll be sharing is fact, it will be slathered in my own opinions and biases. This is to cover my ethics and to not do unjust harm to people in my efforts. All right. As always, we have a pre-lecture quiz. What is a personality disorder? How many clusters are there in personality disorders? What is a personality disorder that you've heard of? What is a personality disorder you want to know more about?
Rock and stone!
Lorcana. YYC. Hey, Lorcana? Like the card game? Hell yeah. And what are some options you have for addressing personality disorders in your life, be it either through yourself or those around you? As of course, there will be a actual test about what's on the slides, so make sure you take notes about what you perceive on these slides. All right, let's talk about personality disorders. I'm going to make myself a little bit smaller, because I feel like I'm covering up a little bit too much of the... So bad at taking notes? You can take mental notes. Okay. I forgot my pencil. Can you borrow one? Yeah. So let's talk about personality disorders. So what is a personality disorder? Let's get some terms out. You guys know me. I love talking about terminologies before, so we all agree on what terms we're using before we actually get out to like talking about them, right? So our personality is a very disagreed upon term, but for our purposes, we will say that it's a blend of a person's thinking patterns, emotional trends, and behavioral tendencies. And say it with me, everybody. We've done this almost every single month. What is a disorder? A disorder is something that negatively impacts your everyday life. Nice, Apop. A psychological situation in which the symptoms thereof cause disorder in the life of the one suffering from it. Remember, a disorder is not just something that happens sometimes. It's not something that just happens a little bit. A disorder is when something happens constantly, consistently, and prevalent in your life. It's something that is causing you genuine dysfunction. It is interrupting your daily existence. And so in essence, a personality disorder is when aspects of your thoughts, behaviors, or emotions cause evident disorder in our lives. Introspection time. When do you think something stops being natural, normal speed bumps in your life and becomes disorder? I'm genuinely curious. What do you all think that means? When something is no longer just like a little thing that disrupts your day-to-day, but becomes like a, oh shit, my whole life is in disarray because of it. But where's that line? Because I think that a lot of people struggle to agree on where that line is. You know, we're going to talk about obsessive compulsion later in this lecture. When is it just like a eccentric little quirk that you like turn the lights on and off 3 extra times before you leave your room? And when does it become like okay, this is disorderly? When it interrupts routine, becomes a struggle to get over those speed bumps, okay. You no longer function at a normal level. What does normal mean, right? That's what we got to talk about. That's the trip. Lack of control. When anyone displaying totality disorder. Here the line is based on the average person. Aha. What is average, right? These are really, really good ideas. You guys are, I really, really like your answers, by the way. Good job. Good participation grades all around. When aspects of your life become unmanageable, when it's something that money can't fix. Ooh, I like those answers too. They're good. Extra hurdle. Jump it. Otherwise it becomes unavoidable trip, fall, or wall. And of course we have the in before. Oh no, Horatius is about to describe me. Thug. Just real quick, in before we have several people being like, oh, that's me. In fact, someone try and keep a tally of how many times someone goes, oh, that's like me. Oh, he's talking about me right now. Like, we're going to keep track of that. I or I. Don't time them out. Hi, Paranoid.
And 0NY wow cheered X100.
I appreciate that. All right, so let's discuss that. And before I'm in this picture, when does life suck and when is it a personality disorder? I'm going to just steal this. This is a direct quote from Psychology Today, which is, in my opinion, a very, very reputable source. You know, let me have fun. That's bullshit. We're having Friendsgiving in a week. Suck my ass. According to the Diagnostic Service Manual 5, which is the DSM-5, a personality disorder can be diagnosed if there are significant impairments in self and interpersonal functioning together with one or more pathological personality traits. In addition, these features must be relatively stable across time and consistent across situations. 2, not better understood as normative for the individual's developmental stage or socio-cultural environment. And 3, not solely due to the direct effects of a substance or general medical condition. So those are the 3 categories, right? And it has to be all 3. That's a big thing. These are 3 things that all must be not the case, right? These are great qualifiers. I strongly agree. So, if you're experiencing paranoia, we're going to talk about paranoid personality disorder. If you're paranoid, but it's just sometimes, it's just in situations that might be rational to be paranoid, then you failed number 1, right? Across social norms without drugs. Yeah, consistency is the only thing you missed there. But yeah, it's consistent, it's socially the norm, and without the influence of substances. Now, not just drugs, right? You're not paranoid if they are out to get you. Sure, yeah. If you're a wanted criminal, it's not paranoid that you think the person on the phone is calling the cops. They probably are, right? It's not better understood as normative for an individual's developmental stage or socio-cultural. This is a big thing, okay? In my opinion, this is the most important of these 3 features. Because you can look all over the world and see cultural distinguishing factors that make people different based off of where they are in their life and based off of where they are socially and culturally, right? So because remember guys, I consider myself a cultural psychologist. I always look at behavior through a cultural lens first. And so this is always an important aspect of these discussions to me. So, or has been to the cookout? I have been to the cookout. And 3, it's not due to the direct effects of a substance or general medication. There's a lot of medications out there that can cause symptoms that appear to manifest in the same way that a personality disorder can represent itself. So that's very real. It could be a prescripted drug that you're taking, or it could be, an illegal drug. Maybe you're taking, fentanyl, or you're a weed smoker, or you are like dependent on alcohol. Like, it can be anything, any substance like that. Skooma, yeah, moon sugar. Steroids, absolutely. We're talking about meth because that sounds like meth. Well, yeah, it can be meth. My point is, it can be any of those things, right? Any like substance that can cause symptoms that we're going to be discussing, you have to make sure that that's not part of it, right? It's not, oh, that person isn't schizophrenic. They're on a drug that's making them act like what we would believe a schizoid person would act. You have to consider that at all times because that's a very real possibility. And remember, these slides will always be available on the Discord after the lecture. And we are also on YouTube. If you want to make sure we're watching it over on YouTube, this will be stored there for future preservations. So, there are 3 major clusters of personality disorders, in each of which there are 3 personality disorders, with the exception of cluster B, which has 4. So, what are these clusters? The A cluster is characterized by odd and eccentric classifications. These disorders are paranoid, schizoid, and schizotypal. Schizotypal. We'll talk about that. Not drug side effect disorder. Exactly, Gimbal. Exactly. Cluster B is characterized by dramatic or erratic classifications, and these are antisocial, borderline, histrionic, and narcissistic. No, it's not what the Jackson 5 meant. Cluster C is characterized by anxious and inhibited classifications, and they're avoidant, dependent, and obsessive compulsive. The clustering of these is really, really important. As we go through these, you'll see that those like little characterization words like odd, eccentric, dramatic, erratic, and anxious and inhibited are all really, really apt to describe all of the disorders in those clusters. Why is clustering something that happens, though, here? The clustering of these diagnoses are due to their tendency for their expressions to meld together at times. So as we see here, when we get to like cluster B and we look at antisocial, borderline, histrionic, and narcissistic, we're going to see that like sometimes there's aspects of antisocial that are a little histrionic. Sometimes we're going to see stuff that, happens in borderline that are a little narcissistic. What borders are going to? We'll talk about it. Also, each cluster has some overlap, and we'll address those shared traits as they come up. Can substances bring out pre-existing conditions? Yes. Can the disorder become permanent from substance abuse? Permanent is not the right word. I would say so I'll say this. You can have a latent chronic depression going on, but because you are using like marijuana, for example, right? That might suppress or exacerbate your depression, but it was probably already there and you were just coping with it in another way. That's what I would say. Yeah, there could be masking. There's so many things, but like just say that substance use and mental health are very much tethered situations, and you can, treat, and you can also make more problematic some mental health aspects of yourself by using certain substances. I'm not the biggest fan of people who self-medicate with drugs and substances. I think that's a really slippery slope to very, very, very unhealthy and maladaptive circumstances. But I do also understand that sometimes you can't afford $100 to see a psychiatrist every few weeks, but you can afford a 6-pack of beer. You know what I mean? Like I understand that there's a reason why people do it. There's always a reason. But psychopathic, sociopathic, or whatever those classified these days, those are not personality disorders. Sociopathy and psychopathy, those are an entirely different family of disorder. Gimbal, to address that. That is a good question, but that is that would be an entirely separate lecture to talk about sociopathies and psychopathies and etc. That's like a whole nother family. Spoilers, Gimbal. Well, no, those are good topics, and maybe we'll talk about them in the future, right? I'm going to be streaming for who knows how many more years, so I need that shit. Look forward to more. Check the YouTube. That's fucking fair. All right, let's get on with it. So, let's start with cluster A. First one, paranoid. Paranoid personality disorder manifests as a massive distrust of others to an incredible degree. Friends, family, loved ones are rarely exempt from this distrust. People with disorder are often guarded and pursue any lengths to validate their fears. These folk are vulnerable to feelings of humiliation and shame and tend to hold on to those transgressions for great durations and intensities. Oh, the chat is blocking some of the slide? What? Oh, I see what you mean. You know what? Stand by. We're going to fix this. Bam. Is the text legible for you all? Can you guys read that okay? No, I was just using the wrong source like an idiot. Can stigma around certain behaviors create a disorder? Yeah, of course. Good. So yeah, paranoid. Let me start over. Paranoid personality disorder manifests as a massive distrust for other people. Remember, in the considers on the sidebar here, all of those are going to be like addressing the reality of paranoia and etc. So like, it's okay and it's natural to be paranoid every now and then. Just because you feel that way sometimes does not mean you should hit up Mayo Clinic. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay. Like, paranoia is a natural experience. It's a reasonable phenomenon. There's a reason why we have this emotion in our minds and in our bodies. It's something that we have like gained and survived because of. Being distrustful of your environment is a survival skill. Especially if you've been wrong before. Yeah, this one is one of those like traditionally comes from trauma, but there's a lot of ways in which someone can develop paranoia disorders or personality disorder. These folk are vulnerable to feelings of humiliation and shame and tend to hold on to transgressions for great durations and or intensities. They isolate from others, they project their feelings onto others, and create self-imagined narratives that cage themselves and demonize others. So, like, is that a Chester mimic? Right. This is one of those situations where, like, with paranoid personality disorder, these are people who, like, not just a little paranoid, right? You're not just like, oh, I don't know about that. Like, oh, I don't think I'm going to trust this gas station sushi, right? This is, like, specifically, I don't trust people who wear that kind of coat because that's like that's the keystone of their reason, right? It's like you come up with any reason that you can fathom to distrust people, Am I paranoid? Yes. No, I'm kidding. You know, you don't trust people. You struggle to make tight connections because you're always second guessing the genuineness of your connections to the people around you. You're blocking a tile a bit of the corner. We'll survive, but I appreciate you getting it. You know, these are people who, like, and often the case, and remember, we will come back to this, odd or eccentric are classifications. So it's, even people outside will look and be like, well, it's kind of weird that you don't trust that person. Like, why don't you have that connection? Or, like, it can be written off as just a little bit of an eccentricity that they're kind of this way. So, like, paranoia is all over the place. It's a very prevalent thing. I mentioned earlier that everything's a spectrum. I do agree with that. And with paranoia in particular, it's not that just like, listen, I'll pull back the curtain a little bit, right? I, as a creator, as a streamer, I believe sometimes, and I have these paranoid moments where I'm like, I'm pretty sure this other creator doesn't like me. I have no reason to think that. They've given me no evidence to substantiate that claim, other than maybe small bits of whatever that I pick up and I'm like, this is the bloody knife. This is the smoking gun. They hate me, right? But it happens. There's all kinds of things. And at the end of the day, they're jealous of your beard. I mean, who wouldn't be? But, like, as is often the case, we hear this referred to as brainworms, which I think is, I've talked about this in the past. I'm not the biggest fan of the term brainworms. I get it. It's apt. It fits, but it is it's a term used to describe too many things, and it doesn't describe any one of them perfectly. You know what I mean? It's a skeleton key where it doesn't actually fit all the locks, but it fits in all of the locks enough for you to sort of rake it around and jingle, and you'll be able to open the damn door, right? Okay. All right. Unhelpful turn doesn't explain what the thing is. Yeah. All right. Schizoid. So, when we talk about schizoid, the main attribute is a relentless need to aim anything and everything from the outside world to the self. Now, some people are going to see this and be like, yes, this is narcissism, right? No. The big difference here is with narcissism, as we discussed last month, narcissism is about, everything is about you, and you make it about you. Schizoid is like, everything is about me, and I keep it to me. Right? I orchestrate my world being just about me. I'm not controlling other people. I'm not manipulating other people. But everything that happens, that's because of me. It's kind of like a introvert version, if you don't mind me being a little inaccurate with my terminology. People with this disorder are not often interested in social or sexual or romantic relationships with other people. In fact, they're generally not interested in relationships of any kind with other people, right? As being indifferent to others or apathetic to those is a common trait. Schizophrenia? So this is not schizophrenia, Otis. We'll talk about that. But this is not schizophrenia. This is schizoid. There's some shared syllables, but they are not the same term. Schizophrenia is a completely different thing. It's less about not trusting other people, Gimbal. It's more about they're unimportant to me. My apologies. Why would you apologize for not understanding a term? You are ignorant, and that's okay. You came to a lecture to learn. It's okay to not know shit. These folks, while they are often considered or perceived as cold and uncaring, are actually exceptionally in tune to emotions. However, due to their avid fixation on introspection, their own realities and their own fantasies, are mostly unaware of the people around them. Right? Hi, Cryo. and paranoia conflated because people don't understand what words mean. Is the shortest answer I can tell you, Room. That's the shortest answer I can give you. Also, there's paranoid schizophrenia, which is an entirely different diagnosis. So main character syndrome? No. Main character syndrome is more closely related to narcissism. Schizoid is, I'm going to sit in my little sandbox, and I'm going to hang out in my little sandbox, and when someone, walks by, cool, some shade came over my kingdom, but I've got my little fantasy world, and I'm just over here sitting down in my little sandbox, doing my little things, doing my little tasks, being a little guy, doing my own little shit. And you're like vastly, massively enraptured by your own personal reality. It's more apt to say that this is a person who everything is about them because they put walls around themselves and made their own little pocket dimension for them to live in. Does that make sense? It's not about Pink Bubble Witch, welcome in. It's not about the rest of the world serves my means. That's closer to narcissism. It's the whole world is about me, and it's this little cute, like 5 foot by 5 foot box that I sit in, right? Nihilism? No. Nihilism is that there is nothing of value. Also, hi, welcome in, Phantom. So that's why I use the picture of the maze in the corner. The maze represents this person's little thing. That little maze is their own little reality, their own little world. Is that word appropriate? What? I've heard it's offensive. What word? Schizoid? So if you called someone a schizoid, that would be harmful, right? If you disparage somebody as a schizoid, that's offensive. But we're talking about a diagnosis. This is like medical terminology at this point, right? Using schizo. Yeah, schizo is a different thing. You would describe someone as a schizo, and that is offensive. But when we're talking about the diagnosis of schizoid personality disorder, then we're doing that, right? Like if I looked at a machine and the machine was working slowly, and I would say there's something retarding the machine. No one says that because we would just say something slowing the machine down. But that would be an apt usage of the word retard. But we don't call people that. You know what I mean? And having a hectic, busy day at the office, could you explain? Went on outside of the office. Now, instead of an office, it's your personal. Hey, BTS, Mom, that is an exceptionally succinct description. Well done. Their trip being delayed. Yeah, because that's what the word retard means. It means to slow the procession of, right? So, or someone in poor taste in certain situations. So, no, it's when like completely acceptable words are used to hurt people. Like put the onus not on the word. The word is just a word. Put the obligation on the speaker. When people use words to hurt others, that is in poor taste. I think that's the important part, is that we make sure we blame the speaker, not the term. There's nothing wrong with the word schizoid. It is a medically apt term for the schizoid personality disorder, which is what we're describing right now. Shortening the word for the transformer of a car? What? I feel like we're getting off topic. I'm going to get back to the lecture. I apologize. So consider, we all find ourselves in our own world sometimes. A trip into the bazaar or the quiet of the self is completely normal. No, you're fine. I appreciate your back and forth. I caught myself leaving my lecture, and I'm reeling myself in. You're totally fine. Living your own bubble, is that something like that? So yes, So living in your own bubble is fine, right? So this is what I'm saying with the consider section on the sidebar here. This is like, it's okay to do this every now and then. If you just like burn an afternoon deep in a book or a video game, you're not worried about another soul on the planet, right? Just a little you time. That's fine. It's fine to do that, right? Daydreaming, yeah. It's important to leave that space, though, right? To go outside, to talk to other people, to engage with the world around you. I figured there'd be hallucinations involved. Not yet. we'll get to that. But this is more about being lost in the self. From the world, sure, Titan Gamer, that works. Yeah, it's exactly what I'm saying, Otis. Now, let's talk about schizotypal. Schizotypal. I always back and forth about the pronunciation. When we talk about schizotypal, this is the more of the well-known or the stereotyped manifestation, right? This is where people have a variety of hallucinations, whether they're auditory, visual, or other sensory, if not full-blown hallucinations where they're completely ripped from reality. Then unusual perceptions and anomalous understandings, right? This can show as people who have often perceived as dangerous, like people around you are perceived as danger. They're like, whether that's like, oh, that person's going to attack me, or like, I'm literally seeing this person as a monster, right? Well known, first I'm hearing of it. Consider yourself a rarity. I think when people are aware of what we call abnormal psychology, one of the few things that people know of is sort of like the pop psychology of schizophrenia. And schizotypal is like not exactly schizophrenic, but it's close. Like it's a sister diagnosis. If you get my meaning. Yeah, the term is uncommon, the concept will know. That's a good way of saying it. This can show people as being perceived as dangerous and are therefore avoided for that reason. Unlike the previous slide, where social interactions are avoided out of apathy or unawareness. So, in schizoid, right, people with schizoid personality disorder, they avoid connections and interactions with other people because they're not interesting to you. You don't care about making those connections. You don't care about having those engagements. That's not something that you crave or desire. Whereas with schizotypal, they're dangerous. I do not want to be near them, right? People with disorder tend to have what we call magical thinking, also shed-based, where they believe so strongly in things that others might consider like a myth. Like we've all probably heard or some of us have probably heard as youth, the whole Bloody Mary 3 times in the dark in a mirror type of thing. People who have magical thinking, such as people who are schizotypal, A Beautiful Mind, sure. I haven't watched that movie in like decades, but yeah, it's of that realm. So magical thinking is where you like genuinely believe myth, right? Whether it's self-manifested myth or fantasy, or socially accepted myth. The whole Bloody Mary thing. Flat Earthers, no. That is magical thinking, but I would not sit there and be like, people who believe in flat Earth are schizotypal. That's not. I would not one-to-one those. Yeah, and she'll appear and bounce on a crazy style. Yeah, exactly. Great, now all my viewers are going to leave and go to their bathroom for 30 minutes. Astrology, tarot, and stuff? No. Those are different. I would not equate these to the same thing as either. Some internally consistent mythological framework that may not track to reality. Yes. Only 45 seconds? Good to know, Cryo. So, yeah, magical thinking is its whole other thing, right? have their own imbalances, afflictions that lead to mental expressions of those conditions. Yeah, I mean, these are people who genuinely see or believe or hear these things, right? So, like, let's talk about building a shed, right? So, a schizoid person is going to build a shed for them to go and be a schizoid inside of. They're going to go into their little shed, and that's their own little world. It's their own little space that they're just going to chill and never be bothered, and they're not messing with anybody, but no one's going to mess with them. It's their cute little shed, or they're just, like, they could just stay and be there, and that's their little space, right? Whereas a schizotypal person will build a shed because it keeps people away, and it keeps them safe, away from others. So that's an example. All right, on to cluster B. Valuable shed discourse. So our first of our personality disorders in the B cluster is the antisocial. Again, this is a term that gets thrown out a lot, and I would probably going to do a specific I might do a lecture about every single one of these eventually, but Oh, fuck off, Nades. Oh, minor spelling mistake. Suck my dick. Ugh. But antisocial gets thrown around a lot. I definitely want to talk about antisocial stuff more. Master's degree, suck my ass. The term antisocial gets thrown around often and is a shorthand for people that do not get along with others. When we're discussing people with antisocial personality disorder, however, we are talking about people who lack a genuine concern for those around them. They can perceive people as tools to their own ends. Looking at you, certain creators in the world, they have a shortage of guilt and shame and do not often learn from their previous failures. They tend to sort of attribute those failures to the tools they used. This is like a perfect example of, you beat me because my controller wasn't working kind of shit, you know? That sounds like someone. Heh. Yes. So you can frequently use this type of antisocial personality disorder people. Sounds closer to narcissism. We're getting there. It's in the same family of disorders as narcissism. Remember, there's going to be some cross contamination with these disorders, right? So, like, an antisocial person would do this because they don't really care about having a connection to people. They use people as instruments of their own success, not because they're better than everybody, but because they don't want to associate with people, right? Closer to, but not the same. Yeah, so, like, remember, when we're talking about cluster B, the terms we always want to be thinking of is dramatic and erratic. And I would say antisocial is really, really leaning on the erratic aspect of personality disorders, right? So, like, they're all over the place. They don't want to stay anywhere for very long. They go in, they get what they need, they fuck off. Like, these are people who don't actually really care about making connections with anybody, because it's like, I'm going to go in, I'm going to take some fucking hors d'oeuvres, and then I'm going to leave. Fuck this party. I'm going to go over here to the charcuterie board, scoop up a bunch of shit. Fuck you all. I'm out of here. Like, they will use their charm and they will manipulate people, right? Which is something that a lot of, narcissistic people do. But this is more about, like, transactional exchange of, like, I'm going to give you a piece of lint and you're going to give me an afternoon of your time kind of shit. Remember, it's reasonable to not get along with everybody. It's expected to not care about every person you meet, and it is normal to blame others sometimes. You get so drained from the interaction, that's a different thing entirely. Are they always charming? No. No. Remember, a big thing here is, like, I'll even say this. There are people in the streaming world that I am friends with in so much that they are a professional connection. That doesn't make me an antisocial person. It doesn't make me a narcissist. It doesn't make me having a personality disorder. It's just, the big thing for me has always been transparency about the nature of your relationships. Really. Like, I would never. Can I get someone as an example? Can someone volunteer? Please, preferably another streamer if anyone's around. Me? Okay. Let's say Cryo and I had a friendship, right? But it was very evident, and both Cryo and I understood this to be the case, that we didn't really have a meaningfully intimate connection of any kind. We just both like to play Escape from Tarkov, and we both like play well together. So every few weeks we do a collaboration stream on their channel or on my channel, and we play Tarkov, right? That's not a really in-depth relationship. Cryo and I don't care about each other really, but we do like this consistency in our workflow, right? I have this kind of relationship with a lot of my coworkers at the school that I work at. I don't think they're bad people, but I don't really care to get to know them. They're just coworkers of mine, and that's totally fine, right? There's nothing inherently unhealthy about just, yeah, exactly. Penn and Teller is a good example of this. So antisocial isn't exactly don't like / trust people. Because like everybody doesn't like some people and everybody doesn't trust some people. You shouldn't trust everyone you meet. You shouldn't get along with every person you encounter, right? And it's okay to blame others for your failures from time to time. But if you sit there and you go, it's never me, it's always some other motherfucker that failed me in some way, and they're the reason why I'm not getting anything accomplished. Yeah, exactly. It does a lot of the heavy lifting. We try to adjust for social context. Yes, of course. The identity of coworkers also implies a level of trust and rules that allow for adequate preservations of one's daily life. Exactly. Then we have borderline. There was a lot of Megatron-esque behavior. Correct. Mythbusted. Well, yes. Yeah, Beta Bash. I agree with that. Are you talking all people? Yeah. Sorry, I misunderstood you. Borderline. There were some questions about this one earlier. We're going to talk about borderline. People who are borderline tend to lack a sense of self. They do not take abandonment well, or will even consider acts that are of minimal consequence to be massive ordeals. Their relationships are often unstable, and feelings of purposelessness and emptiness are prevalent. Anger and violence to the self and to others is common at the mildest of provocations. With threats of either of which being completely normal to these people. This is commonly misused, correct, as with a lot of psychological terms. But yes, borderline personality disorder is radically misunderstood. It is called borderline as it is thought to be someone on the verge of a neurotic or psychotic disorder diagnosis. Ergo, their presentations are often milder than those with the above mentioned. Now remember, I say milder with air quotes because neurotic and psychotic disorders tend to be explosively big presentations. Whereas someone who is borderline personality disorder, they like, if you say, hey, I know you and I agreed we're going to go get pizza on Friday, but I'm actually going to stay home and spend that evening with my girlfriend or my wife or my partner or whoever. And they're like, oh, well, so you fucking hate me and I'm a piece of shit and you never actually cared. And, actually, I'm going to go fucking jump off a cliff. Like, what? Like, that's not a socially normal response to that. Yeah, these are people who will actually seem, in the same sense, habaneros are milder than ghost peppers. Exactly. So all kinds of cluster B disorders are commonly described as evil traits or aggressive traits from people who don't fully understand them. Yeah, I don't think that's a bad take. Sorry, I misspoke. I don't think that's a bad assessment that a lot of people don't understand these personality disorders and be like, oh, that's the evil person. It's like, no, this comes from somewhere. Personality disorders come from somewhere. Generally trauma, to be fair. Some of these are semi-genetic. Twitter's escalation from I like pancakes, so you hate what? Exactly. That's sort of a comedic interpretation, but you are on the right track. when says you hate women whenever you disagree, but done seriously. Exactly. Yeah, whenever I say that Hera says something wrong, she's like, "Oh, you just say that because you hate women." Like, that would be a comedic example of personality disorder type responses. Agreed, Slime. Or is in a pristine house mentally, rather than neurotic being a glass house. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. It hurt people, you know? That's just the sad way of things. So, remember, let's talk about sheds, right? So, borderline personality disorder is going to be like you're building a shed, and every time you ask somebody to help you with part of the shed, like, hey, I'm building a shed that's 10 feet tall and I don't have a tall enough ladder. Can you hand me something so I don't have to get up and down the ladder constantly, right? And they show up and they're helping you, and at one point, you know, you're like, okay, hey, can you hand me another 2x4, or can you hand me another rack of nails, or can you hand me another this or another that? And you look down and they're on their phone for a second, right? There's a normal level of frustration to experience during that. But if you in turn are like, you're a gigantic piece of shit and I can't believe you wasted my fucking time, that would be an example of borderline personality disorder. It's a unreasonably like big response, right? Sorry, I'm having a side conversation with my wife. I apologize. I'm late for class. Hi, Retro. I showed the picture that you made. And it was really cute. So hi, Willow. Hi. I love my wife. Not cool to overreact that they are on the phone, but bothered out of the time to come help. Appreciate. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Ninja Charles. Loves his wife, and he loves his wife as much because she's also right as hell. True. And she's talking about going out and running an errand, and I'm just telling her like what to do and what not to do. And when are we getting Dwarf ballad dedicated to his wife? I could sing you 45 years. It's a Stan Rogers song about how much he loves his wife. And her and I love that song and use it all the time. Is it possible to have multiple personality disorders? Absolutely. There's a specific term for that, but I completely forgot. Hey, I've never heard that song. Oh, I love it. Comorbid? Yes, comorbidity is the term for whenever you have those. But I Lady J Psych, correct me if I'm wrong here. I thought there was a specific term for when you had like multiple personality disorders at the same time. But maybe I'm just forgetting it, and it is just I know comorbidity is when you just have, multiple personalities, multiple disorders that are all impacting one another is the comorbidity. But I didn't know if there was a specific term for having multiple personality, not multiple personality disorder, but having multiple personality disorders. I thought there was a term. I'm not going to get lost in this thread. It doesn't matter. Well, they did, but that's neither hither nor thither. I don't recall if there's one specifically for PDs. Thank you. Earlier, what defines a personality disorder as opposed to a regular disorder? It impacts your personality. And in this terminology, we are using the word personality is being defined as the blend of a person's thinking patterns, emotional trends, and behavioral tendencies. Multiple, personality disorders. Of course, Bubble Witch. Lurk if you can. If not, just have a damn decent day. I appreciate you. All right. Histrionic. This is one of the ones that I enjoyed talking about, writing the most. So, these people also lack a sense of self-worth, or sense of self. Sorry, a lack of sense of self or a sense of worth. And unlike borderline, they desire it from the people around them. I would say it's kind of like borderline, expect it, histrionic, desire it. Would be a big differing factor between the two. They will be histrionic, which is playing the part or playing the actor. These people will chameleon to their surroundings without delay as an attempt to fit in and get the attention that they crave to sustain their maladapted coping skills and needs. Remember, we all blend into our environments. If you're, if you were invited to a quinceañera and you've never been to one before, like, are you going to walk in with a fucking sombrero on trying to speak your as poorly understood Spanish? No, not necessarily. But maybe you'll try and wear something appropriate. Maybe all right, my point is, like, when you go to something that you're invited to, you're going to try and meld into, right? You're going to try and I fucking hate you people sometimes. I fucking hate you people sometimes so much. Okay, it's just comorbidity. Bars. Shut up. Histrionic folk will engage in whatever ends are needed to maintain their act and will deny and deflect whatever is needed to avoid failure or perceived failure. I make that really important distinction because sometimes, right, we fail. And sometimes it's obvious that we fail. We know that we failed, but also sometimes it's just that it's perceived, that we think people think we failed, right? And that is enough for histrionic people to get up in arms about something. They're weak to criticism and form superficial connections with people to sap what they need to perpetuate the loop of attention-seeking needs. So histrionic people, excuse me, I'm so belchy from this coffee. I don't know why. These are people who, like, look at others as an opportunity to get attention, to be perceived, and they derive that happiness. They derive a sense of self from being adulated, to being loved and cared for. Yeah, and so that's the thing, right, Retro Mumsy? We talked about this. When does life suck and when is it a personality disorder? The second feature there listed says, not better understood as normative for the individual's developmental stage or socio-cultural environment. When you are a teenager, you're an adolescent, and you're trying to figure out, like, your self-worth. You don't necessarily have histrionic personality disorder. You're just a 14-year-old who's trying to find value in yourself through the perception of others. Completely normal, right? We try to fit in. As we are younger people, we're trying to learn how to fit in. We borrow, we steal, we like self-manufacture from the world around us an understanding of behaviors and, you know, way to act to ingratiate yourself into your community, to your social circumstances. That's like this is textbook normal child behavior. but when we look at an adult who goes through these radical degrees of trying to ingratiate themselves, right? Oh, that's good. I was normal. Who knows? I'm not going to say that. But maybe you were. I'm just saying, like, if you did stuff that you would otherwise consider histrionic in nature, but it was like you're 12 and you don't know who you are yet, then, like, I think you can give a little grace, is my point. But being over the top personality from time to time as a treat is fine. Make sure you don't let people don't let people become a resource to get your needs, however, right? That's my big thing, you know? Like, people should never just be like an apple of attention that you can sup from until it is devoid of attention to give you, and then you throw it on the ground and move on. Do histrionic people realize they're doing this? I would say most of the time, most people who have some kind of personality disorder are not aware of what they are doing is maladaptive. Some might understand it, that what they're doing is not good. But I would say the majority don't perceive what they're doing as maladaptive, if they even clock that. Like, I would even say there are probably plenty of people, especially in like paranoid or schizotypal or narcissism, who are like, they look at the people around them like, yeah, everyone does what I'm doing. I'm doing the normal thing, right? Everyone's like this. What if I eat the VTuber? Will I gain their power? I try all the time, Zoran. Good to have you in, buddy. Welcome in. We're talking about personality disorders. And someone just commented on a histrionic being like, wow, I feel like I know some VTubers that I will not name. I'm not saying that's you. I don't think that's you at all, actually, Zoran. Despite your flair for playing the role, since you are a TTRPG enthusiast, no, I do think it's fun that I see people repeatedly, when I'm talking about this different personality disorder, like, oh, I know someone in the VTubing world like that. I'm like, yeah, I bet you fucking do. But I'm not a diagnostic psychologist. I'm not here to diagnose anybody. That's not my job. Narcissistic. We literally just did a 2-hour-long lecture about narcissism. You guys can go to the YouTube. You guys can go to the Discord. You guys can go fucking watch that shit yourself. I'm not spending another 15 fucking minutes talking about narcissism when I literally just did this shit. So... And we're farming. Narcotics. Not narcotics. Also, hold on. Orin. There's Zoran. Well, per my last lecture. There you go, Zoran. Get you a gem, my dude. Yes, I'm bailing on this slide has big per my last email energy. Will this VOD be here later? Yes, it will. Yes, it will. Finally, insomnia is a pain. Hey, I appreciate it, man. I'll spend this on one nugget. Yeah, all the lectures go on YouTube forever. I'll watch the video. Yeah, also the lecture notes, the slides are on the Discord, so you can always check them out there. Insomnia is a pain. I get you, dog. Yeah, so just as like a brief, like super short 1-minute reminder. Narcissism is about when people can't seem to find the lectures on YouTube. They're not like all there. There's gaps in the timeline. But I know the narcissism one was on there. I know that. Let me turn this off real quick. Stand by. Thank you, Foss. Narcissism. Remember rules for the lecture. Who am I? Our goal is here pre-lecture quiz. Let's talk about narcissism. We gotta talk about a guy who looked at some water. What the fuck are you talking about? It's a story of narcissism about Narcissus. Looked at his own reflection and fell in love with it. Stayed there till he died. Primary. We have the grandiose and vulnerable sources of narcissism. We also have the parental, workplace, celebrity, social media, and sexual, which are the secondary and tertiary aspects. Tells you it's time to wake up. Grandiose is one of the main two expressions of narcissism. It's when people believe that they have a grandiosity to them. They attain power and success above others. Relationships are meant to acquire power and strength, but are short and transactional. Wait, it was Greek? Yeah, probably. Icarvelis. The other is vulnerability. It's this idea of the eternal victim. People withdraw and isolate themselves out of shame and distrust of others. Then we have parental/workplace. This is one of the main locations in which case you will develop narcissism, either from your parents, your workplace. You can also derive it from sexual encounters. But we're going to talk briefly about it because it's the whole kind of thing. Knack and Ellis in the late 1880s did the thing. In 1913, Ernest Jones coined the term God complex. Old boy Freud in 1914 deemed that narcissists aimed their libido towards themselves rather than other people. Anyway, celebrity and social media narcissism is this idea where it stems from a few major factors: an authority and parasociality manifested by one's own fame and notoriety. This presents a conundrum as people we learn norms by observing the world and the people in and around us. So we've learned this elevated fame from being and become one of the few and have no clues in which to learn from. Also, we addressed that there's 4 different ideas as to why people develop narcissism and are content creators. There's the system encourages it. The systems encourage you to be a narcissist in many different ways. They encourage you to put people down and push yourself up. It encourages you to use people as resources. The users encourage it. People love blood sport. They want to watch people. Drama creators, news YouTubers, VTubers, rage baiters, lol cows. These people are encouraged by their user base to do it. The self encourages it. Some people just are narcissists, and then they get into content creation, and they find that their own means of narcissism are perpetuated and encouraged by their own narcissism, and so therefore it is a self-fulfilling system. And of course, there's the null hypothesis, as there always is, where we have it's not actually really that much more common. This is such good info. Yeah, please go. What are the physiological impacts of narcissism? All kinds of shit. Did some research. Why are we talking about it? You're watching a VTuber. Statistically, it's important. You should know about narcissism. Okay. Moving on. Getting on to the C cluster. Remember, in the C cluster of personality disorder clusters, this is anxious and inhibited, right? I was very not bail on the topic. Suck my asshole, Gimbal. Avoidant personality disorders manifest as people simply do not think they are socially capable. They believe that they're undesirable, and they are shackled by their fears of that insecurity being brought to the forefront, right? Or a speedrunning narcissism like an angry magician doing his trip and going, okay, yeah, exactly. It's like if the band that did Freebird went on stage and everyone didn't want to hear their new songs, they just go Freebird, Freebird, Freebird. Like, all right, fucking Jack the Woofer. Nah, dog. The first step of being really good at something is kind of suck at something. Jack the Woofer. Alright. While associated with anxiety disorders, this is often a learned response from childhood trauma or just like general trauma. People who struggle with this are woeful of meeting new people unless they're reassured this is a match for them, and are often monitor their own internal reactions so strongly that they often self-sabotage their attempts to outmaneuver their own concerns. Breatharion, that's not even just kidding. That's literally that you are actually correct. Dude, sucking at something is the first step towards being sort of good at something. Is my natural response to people who engage in this kind of avoidant behavior.
Dude, sucking at something is the first step towards being sort of good at something.
Correct. Dependent personality disorders is expressed as a lack of self-confidence and a reliance of being tended to and managed. These are people who just do not believe that they are capable of being self-sufficient. So they pull people into their web of reliance and abuse those people to survive, out of a neglect of manifesting their own strength to do so. But we do have a little bit of this dependency in all of us. All people should call on others to help you. No man is an island, right? They are insecure in their relationships and go to great lengths to preserve them, even if it's evident that they may be unhealthy to do so. The fear of abandonment is absolutely crippling to these people, and the prospect of being without a caretaker is a paralyzing concept. They will present helplessness even when otherwise capable, and will default to not even being able to do so, rather than even trying. And remember, I'm this way about art. I would rather spend my limited money on paying someone on the internet to draw something for me than even bother fucking trying and saving my money. And the reason for that is, I don't wanna. I don't want to do it. So, but this dependency personality disorder would get to the point where we're like, I don't make my own food. I don't wash myself. I don't go to my job unless I'm driven there. Like when we're talking about this, these are people who do not even meet the fundamental needs that they have without being assisted or being helped. Obsessive compulsive. Anarchistic people, which is my fun little shit that's to my mother. Damn, Laser Pig. I'm sorry, my dude. Anarchistic people, which is the fun word that no one uses for obsessive compulsive, but the term is anarchistic. People are entranced in the details of the world around them. They are bound to a sense of rule and order and even perfection. This manifests in an all-encompassing drive to obey whatever contrived rule sets they have constructed for themselves, and often expect others to do so as well. There are minimal to no tolerance of deviation from these parameters, and they can make trouble for relationships with other people, as few, if anyone, can understand the sometimes limitless depths of these expectations. This can start from a lack of control. Is a baller fucker word? I agree. This can start from a lack of control in life, and therefore a forging of control is applied to their existence, even in the smallest of ways. So this is the idea of, I'm going to build a shed, and I'm going to use nails to build my shed, right? There are times where a screw is better than a nail. There are times where a nail is better than a screw. But if you're like, no, my whole shed would be built with nails, full stop. And then you run out of nails, and rather than making the shed with nails and then some screws in some parts where it might be better, you go, no, it's always nails. They are always driven in at a 43-degree angle for the best, like whatever contrivance they can possibly consider. Also, some of you may have noticed that there's something wrong on this slide. Curious. Raise his hand. Can't this also be a part of certain anxiety disorders? Yes. Obsessive compulsive tendencies can represent themselves in a bunch of different places. The blue line was there in all the slides. The shed is tilting? Yes. The shed is about 3 degrees tilted than the other ones. It is literally like 3 degrees off. And I knew some motherfuckers would notice. Isn't everyone obsessive compulsive at times? That's my point, is that with all of these personality disorders, right? All of these personality disorders, there's a little bit of normal behavior in all of these things. It's understandable to have your Sorry, I got here late. No, welcome in, dude. Dose makes the poison. Exactly. Everyone has a little bit of obsessive compulsive in them, right? Everyone has a little bit of dependency in them. Everyone has a little bit of avoidance in them. Everyone has a little bit of narcissism. Everyone has a little bit of histrionic tendencies. Everyone's a little bit borderline about stuff. Like, I'm gonna tell you right now, okay? I promise you, no matter how patient you think you are, no matter how how much kindness you think you possess, I promise you, every single motherfucker in this chat, in this community, in this world has something that if someone does it to you, you're gonna fucking pop the fuck off with absolutely minimal provocation. For me, I'll tell you mine. If someone asks me for my guidance, right? And someone asks me like, "Hey, Hora, what do you think about this thing?" Right? And I go, "Oh, I'm going to take some time out of my day and genuinely give you some help." Right? Ooh, bitch, I know. And I take that time to help that person, and they go, "Thanks. I'm going to use this." And then they go back to their life, and then I find out a week later that not only did they not do that, they did something completely different. And then they have the audacity to come back to me and be like, "Hey, I'm struggling with this thing that I talked to you about before, and it's not getting better." I'm like, "Well, did you try that thing that I tried?" And they go, "No." I'm like, "Well, then how about you go fuck yourself, actually? How about you never waste my fucking time again, and I will shit in your cereal." Like, that always gets me. Everybody has those. Everybody has something like that, right? Everyone has something that you will pop the fuck off. Everyone's a little antisocial. Everyone's a little schizotypal. Sometimes we hear things that aren't there. Sometimes we misidentify things around us. Sometimes we just don't like someone's vibe, right? We all have a little schizoid in us. Sometimes we like to just, stare out into the sunset, right? Meaning to ask me, go ahead, Cryo. Everyone's a little paranoid. Everyone has a little bit of all of these in us. It's not a disorder until it's stable across time, consistent across situations, not better understood as a norm for someone's developmental stage or social or cultural environment, and not induced by substance. And it has to not be disorder. It has to not cause you disorder in your life. Believe in there being unsolicited advice? Do you mean like... Because remember, like, solicitation infers that people are asking, right? I think that people sometimes ask for advice and don't recognize that they're asking for advice. Well, no, Some Guy Gaming 420, because if I was a more generous person in that regard, and someone was like, "Hey, I didn't want to try it because of this or that," then I wouldn't just blow up at them. I would be like, "Okay, so maybe you didn't understand my advice. Maybe I didn't explain it very well. Like there's other resolutions to that situation I described earlier, right? But for me, that's just a vulnerability in my armor, and it pisses me off. It gives them sex they didn't want it. Well, yeah, no, that is real. Because some people... So remember, Cryo, whenever I talk to anybody about something that they're struggling with, I always try and check in with them about, like, "Hey, are you looking to vent? Do you want to process this, or do you want to problem solve?" Right? Because sometimes people just want to be pissed. And it's really, really helpful to just let people be upset. Right? Because if you're just upset and you just want to be upset at that time, you're not ready to address the problem. You're not ready to deal with the situation. You're not ready to try and sort it out and repair what's gone on. Sometimes you just need to be upset about something. Like if someone experiences sexual assault and they go to the police station, the people that they work with through that problem don't just immediately be like, you know, let's talk about it in depth. Tell me all of the details. Like, no, they're going to put out the fire of that person's like crisis and calm that person down and help them be ready to do that. You know? It's a mainstay of crisis management. You don't just like hear someone bitch about something and go, okay, let's immediately start solving it. Because my ex had a therapist who told her early in life not always give people advice, but think they gave them a bad definition. I hear you. Yeah, I don't know. Like, people got to work on that, right? Like, you have to be ready to be helped. I love the little meme, thanks. All right. Surprise, motherfucker. Pop quiz. How many personality disorders did we discuss today? I'm going to drink some water and relax. How many? Yes, I would say 10, 9 if you don't count narcissism. How many sheds did we build today? How many sheds did we discuss? One, 2, 3. What is one of the 3 features of a personality disorder? Cannot be typical of someone at that stage of development. Based. Correct answer. Stable and consistent. Correct. Brain human sentience. No. Remember, Retro Momsy, I only asked for one. Keyword. Disorder. So the word disorder is more talking about what the definition of it is. But when we're talking about the features, we're talking about that it has to be relatively stable across time and consistent across situations. It has to not be better understood as a normative thing for someone's individual developmental stage or social cultural environment, and not solely due to the direct effects of a substance or general medical condition. Let's see. Some guy gaming 420. The part where they come back and ask for advance advice, pet peeve, that's after observing they took nothing to heart and learned nothing. Sure, you could try again, but they didn't try at all. I feel like that's understandable, justified even. I don't know if I'd try again either. I don't know the pop quiz questions. I joined late. Not really the question. Sorry. Okay, buddy. Thank you for your comment in the discussion. I'll respond to you like I would a student. Thank you for your comment. Let's move on. Yeah. Man, I should have taken notes. It's all good. What did Jake the dog say? What does Jake the dog say?
Dude, sucking at something is the first step towards being sort of good at something.
Sometimes the first step towards being good at something is sucking at something. No, that's what Jack the Wolf says. That's what Jack the Woofer said. Oh, what slide did I skip this month? You gotta suck before you good? Cryo, come see me after class. Narcissism, nice. Well, we did skip the slide, right? I just went back and pulled up the whole fucking lecture like an ass. Turn this D into an A somehow. Hell yeah. Narcissism until he didn't is incredible. What are the physiological impacts of personality disorders? Well, with histrionic, we have the need to be the center of attention, seduction, and provocative behavior, uses appearance to draw attention, dramatic, exaggerated emotions, suppressed, hypnotic, and vague speech, shifting and shallow emotions, suggestible, where linked relationships are closer than they are. With borderline personality disorder, distorted self-image, impulsivity, self-injury, risky behavior, feelings of any suicidal threats, fear of abandonment, unstable relationships, mood swings, suspicious of others, inappropriate anger, mental therapist of your own device. Remember, this is the idea that where you basically you act as your own therapist and do yourself a disservice in the process. A lack of self-control complicates the schizophrenia. We have heart disease, diabetes, infections, high blood pressure, weight gain, high blood sugar, high cholesterol, tardive dyskinesia. In essence, a lot. There's a lot. There's a lot of physiological impacts of personality disorders. It's a lot. So some recent research. Cameron A. Fariba et al. Did a continuing education study about personality disorders. I highly recommend it. If you can go and find it. I listed the objectives on the side and altered. It might be, you have to crane your neck to look. But this is a really, really good sort of meta-analysis of the DSM-5's understanding of the big 10 personality disorders that we discussed today. And sort of them looking at like how we treat those things, how we can address these things, how we can help those things. Now, why are we talking about personality disorders? Because you have a personality, and odds are something about it causes you disorder from time to time. I think it is fundamentally valuable to know what can go wrong and understand when it's not just, oh, one of my eccentricities, but it's a real issue and you should get it addressed. I think it's important to always work on yourself. You are the eternal project, every day a test, every chance to improve an opportunity. Be flawed, we all are. However, always strive to be a better you tomorrow, next month, or next year. I just like this little Michelin web meme. I just feel that, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Even if it is broke, just ignore it, and maybe it'll sort of be, it'll be sort of okay. Then I have my little personal quote here. We all have things about us that are disorderly. It's not a problem until something breaks, but that doesn't mean to ignore it. All right, post-lecture quiz, everybody. What is a personality disorder? What does it mean when I say a personality disorder? Japanese fisherman hyping people up, yeah. Being a Twitch viewer, based. No. Leave the fucking YouTube ad up. Also, as we answer these questions, exclamation point waifu, exclamation point coffee, buy my shaker cup. We need to sell 12 more of them. Also, we sold so much coffee that it sold out. So go order some so Aries has to make more coffee. Yes, when aspects of your personality cause disorder in your life, absolutely. When a person has atypical social behavior consistently without influence of chemicals. I get paid Friday, Hora. Don't yell at me. I'm sorry, Cryo. Wah. Coffee, yeah. Go buy Raisin Delta. Go buy my coffee flavor. It's black walnut. It's delicious. How many clusters are there? How many clusters of personality disorders are there? Three. Wrong, Steez. It's 3. There's decaf of that coffee? I'm so sorry, Mumsy. There is not. I just got here. Oh, my bad. What is a personality disorder that you've heard of? Of the ones we discussed today, what's one of the ones that you were already familiar with? Maybe you knew or just had heard of. OTL, that's fine in small doses. Small little drinks. Narcissism, Gooner, all of them. You heard of all of them before, Cryo. You had heard of schizoid and schizotypal? Schizotypal? Color me impressed. Or I literally do daily therapy? For yourself or for other people? Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. What is a personality disorder you'd want to know more about? Maybe something that I can prioritize. And maybe do another lecture on. And if you say narcissism, I'm going to backhand you. Borderline histrionic, narcissistic, avoidant, dependent. Hell yeah. Histrionic, okay. Being a stalker is not a personality disorder. Question kind of... I have another question, kind of just going to throw it out. Yeah, go for it. That's how it works. Have you done a lecture on bipolar 1 and 2? I have not, but that would be a good one. Does a healthy blend of this cause all the traits in people, not just equal type? Like, I notice when I do some of these and tone it down, I only recently found out my own drive. But that... What? Okay, so does a blend of these not just equal these personality types that you listed? Probably. I actually don't think very positively about personality typings and personality tests. That's actually an upcoming lecture, is me, like, dog shitting on personality tests. But yeah. The answer to your question is probably. Briggs Myers, the Twitter of psychology, correct. Hey, would haunted people syndrome count? I don't know. I need to familiarize myself with that. As you'll come to learn, I'm actually really bad at, like, specific terminology. What's NIH say? The notes individuals who recurrently report various supernatural encounters in everyday settings, ostensibly due to heightened somatic sensory sensitivities to dis-ease states, which is contextualized by paranormal beliefs and reinforced by perceptual contagion effects. As you explain. I mean, I don't know. To me, that sounds like low intensity hallucinations. To me. I need to look at that a little bit more. Who claim to see ghosts consistently? Yeah. I believe. I don't know. That very much feels to me like low intensity hallucinations. I need to look into that a little bit more. Do a lecture on how MBTI is astrology for psych majors? No. I guess the interest could cause hallucinations to maintain category. Yeah. It's open to be wrong. Wait, what? I guess for mania? Yeah, I think mania is on there, right? Yeah, mania is on there. I don't believe, but I leave myself open to be wrong. I don't believe in the paranormal either. Are there parasocial related disorders? Are some people more likely to have parasocial tendencies? I don't know that there are any parasocial disorders. Like any disorders that are characterized by being parasocial inherently, but there are definitely disorders that can influence someone to be more parasocial. Yes, I would say. That's how I would frame it. I wouldn't say that parasociality is a disorder, but I would say that there are some mental health diagnoses that would encourage people to be parasocial. That would sort of encourage that pattern of behavior. That's what I would say. What those are, I don't know. Give me an hour and some time to, give me some time to research, and I can construct something there for you. But nothing pops off the dome straight away. I mean, because like you could argue, Majide, thank you. I would say maybe like some aspects of dependency, like dependency personality disorder could potentially encourage people to be more parasocial. Maybe, I feel like some anxiety disorders could lend you to be more parasocial. Maybe there's like some variances of like sociopathy could encourage that kind of thing. It's not November, it's December. Next December, we're going to be doing oh, thanks, love. We'll be doing a lecture about gift giving. This is a lecture I've been looking forward to all year, actually. Hello. Sorry for that one, yeah. The rest of the year, including next year. We'll be talking about ego. We'll maybe revisit some old topics. We'll talk about personalities and personality tests. We'll talk about cognitive distortions. We'll talk about relationships. We'll talk about mania and the psychology of video games, because we were supposed to do that, and I missed that one. Strum Karen, welcome in. Thank you for the follow. So please, while I enjoy my chicken sandwich that my wife just brought me, go ahead and ask me some questions. You guys got some questions for me? Hit me with your quetch. How many fingers are you holding up? Between 0 and 10. Man, fuck you. Man, fuck your question. What are you talking about? The fuck is shadow work? I can. Well, go ahead, Cryo. Go ahead. It's when wrestlers infiltrate. Shut the fuck up. Personality tests are interesting. I know Japan has one based on blood types, but that only the most commonly known blood types. In any of them, or is that just not possible? Oh, it absolutely is possible to manifest a personality disorder at a young stage in your life. That's absolutely a thing that happens. Shadow work is you're working on your shadow. In the psychological sense, your shadow is your self-conscious. So it's like, it's introspection to your unconscious self. It's it's where you go digging into the parts of you that you suppress. It's like exploring and working on the parts of yourself that you neglect or stow to the side. It's working on your shadow, is what it means. You work on your shadow. Does caffeine directly contribute to the effect of depression? It can. Caffeine usage can caffeine use can both assist or detriment. Ugh. In childhood trauma? Yes, but... Oh, I just dropped some chicken in my water. remember, childhood trauma, sometimes it's like a time bomb. It takes time for that trauma to actually hit you. You were talking about schizoid personality disorders. Something that came to mind, especially in online spaces, is chronic role players who are wrapped up in their own little role play and never authentic or genuine. Would these be related? Maybe. I would say that, like, that's a manifestation of schizoid behavior, but I would not say that someone who does that is necessarily a schizoid person. Is there medication to stop personality disorders? Yeah. Yeah, some of them are treatable with medication. But I'm not a psychiatrist, so I can't tell you which medications would work for that. Kind of odd? Not really. When you remember that all of these things, all of these things, these traits of ourselves, they're all of these personality things, like personality, your thoughts, your beliefs, your actions, your behaviors, your emotions, all of these things are hormonal in nature. Your hormones trigger all these different things. So, like, and you can take synthetic hormones to alter the triggering of these things. So it seems wild, the idea that your personality can be treated with medicine, but it absolutely can. Is it possible to do cognitive behavioral therapy wrong? Yes. If I give you... How much of this is our hormones? Oh, yeah, dog. Yeah, welcome to Mario Grandma and Black Cat Astro, by the way. It's possible to do cognitive behavioral therapy wrong in the same way that it is possible for me to give you instructions and the materials to build a chair and for you to fuck that up, right? Like, if I read a book on how to do cognitive behavioral therapy and I do it wrong, then I did cognitive behavioral therapy wrong, right? If we build a shed and I end up building a closet, then I built the shed wrong, right? I built a closet. I built a good closet, but I was trying to build a shed. So yeah, it's possible to do things wrong, especially in therapy. Like, I want to have this type of personality take the correct medication. Maybe. For the outside, real, dude. That you've got really good common sense when it comes to psychology. Did you have a special interest or focus at the beginning of your education in this? Yes. Since high school, when I helped a friend talk themselves down from suicide, I basically have dedicated my entire life to it. Oops, I built a boat. The shed. Yep. Hi, wife. Everyone say hi to my wife. That's my wife. Willow the wife is my wife. Hi, wife. Is the friend okay nowadays? I don't know. I haven't talked to him in like over 20 years. I love my wife.
Rock and stone!
Squishy Ferret, thanks for the follow. Welcome on in. Wait, what? Thoughts on the Tetris effect where you're playing Tetris immediately after trauma can reduce the risk of PTSD? Sure. Sounds like therapy to me, dog. Do you sell coffee to your wife? I would, but she doesn't drink coffee because she's a baby and only likes, like, dessert coffees. But man, I really found tarot and related things help so much. I realize I've only ever shadow. Yeah, I mean, Typhoon, she clicked and replied to the wrong person. Tiramisu. Generally the best way for me to attack my issues because I'm physically seeing them be erased and overcome and suggest it to literally everyone I can. Yeah, I mean, what you're talking about, Cryo, is what we call fetish therapy. Effigy therapy, where you literally make an effigy and then destroy it. And the effigy is supposed to represent something you want to move past. So, sorry, the word fetish is used as another word for the word effigy. Fucking grow up. Incredible slip. It's the same word! Fucking Philistines. Oh, Bearded Blinn. Are you Momsy's partner? Hi. Why does Freud have a weird reputation? Because he liked to do drugs and fuck his patients. That's... But it was the only one using that word? No. What? Are you eating cheese right now? No, I'm eating my chicken sandwich. I said this shit! Oh, I brought me chicken sandwich. Got tails power, nice. Yep, Oedipus. So, everyone reset the timer since we talked about Freud. So, the reason why... Raisin, that's hilarious. History of the World Part 1, that is a very good joke from that movie. Oedipus, my man, what's up, motherfucker? Yeah. So... Oh, yeah, the new Vexoria emotes, yep. So, boo, fuck you, that joke's hilarious. Like Sigmund Freud mentioned. So, Sigmund Freud is still often mentioned when we talk about psychology because I say this with no happiness in my voice. He was a fundamentally important person, in the early days of the psychological profession's life. He was wrong. He did a lot of shit stupid. The majority of his theorem has been proved wrong and inaccurate. He fucked his patients and did a lot of cocaine about it. Or what was it? What did he do? Was it cocaine? No. Meth? Heroin? Laudanum? Cocaine. He did cocaine. I thought I had it right. But yes, we built a lot from his incorrect understanding. So, fuck you, Freud. But I will step over your corpse to achieve greater heights. Like, So he wasn't even correct for his time period? No! 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 He was a manifestation of his time period, but he was not correct. He was a product of his era, where women were objects to be used and abused, where sex with whoever you wished was a privilege afforded to the elite, and where you could get fucking blitzed out of your mind at your job, and as long as people believed that you could do what you were talking about, they would believe you. Oh, damn, a pop quiz. I wasn't paying attention. What's up, Soka here? Don't know any of his stuff? You do. You just don't recognize that it's from him. Oh, excuse me. Worse than the phrenology? Yeah, I'd say so. You got ghosts in your blood. You should do cocaine about it. Was a legit diagnosis? Yeah. Stressed out after work? Have some laudanum. It'll calm you. I feel like phrenology is omega worse. Here. I'll say this. I think phrenology is still something we're dealing with today, which is fucking laughably horrible. But I would say at the time, like, I'll say, like, we're still feeling the reverberations of phrenology, but I would say that during the time where Freud's theories were active, it was more harmful. You know what I mean? Does that make any sense? They're differently bad. They're both bad, but... Gave me ectoplasma. That's a yikes? Oh, yeah. As the golden ration? I'm not familiar with that term. They took the dominant of recessive alleles and rang the wrong way? Correct. Your mother has a smooth forehead. Which planet is she from? Yeah. Golden ration. Did you mean golden ratio? Or am I just actually foolish? When I make aesthetic lunches for work. Golden ratio. Yes, okay. Yeah, golden ratio is a thing. No thanks. All right, we're going to end the lecture. I don't know if we're ending stream, but we're going to end the lecture. So YouTube is going to go off. Thank you guys for hopefully watching the YouTube at all.